You must sweat the small stuff. Why?
Just think it's the most important thing. I remember one of the most important books I ever read was The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson when I was 18 years old. Because it helped me understand the importance of marginal gains and the tiny things in life and how they're compounding for or against you invisibly in every aspect of your life. Your teeth, your skin, your finances, your relationship. The tiny things are compounding for or against you. And the analogy I give to help sort of illuminate this is, if you didn't brush your teeth today, no one in this room would know. If you didn't brush your teeth every day
You might.
I might, because I'm in close proximity. If you didn't brush your teeth every day this week, really, a couple of people might notice, but they wouldn't say anything. No real costs. If you didn't brush your teeth every day for 5 years, your teeth would fall out. You'd be on a dental chest screaming. And the question becomes, when did that happen? It happened today. It was that small, seemingly invisible decision, which was easy to do and easy not to do, as they always are, that you chose not to do, that compounded invisibly against you. And as they say in compounding returns, which they call the eighth wonder of the world, according to Warren Buffett, it's slow then it's fast. And that's why it's so difficult and so easy to overlook the smallest things. It's easy to save £1, so it's also easy not to. I believe that most people in any discipline I'm competing in will not sweat the small stuff. They'll overlook the small things, which gives us a great competitive advantage by obsessing over the smallest things. And also, as we talked about earlier, we talked about the frame and how it's really hard to make huge steps forward in reality, but much easier to make them in psychology. It's very difficult to find big steps forward in business. It's very difficult. Think about us as podcasters. Is there really another platform we could go onto? We're both on airlines now, I think. We're both on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Is there a breakthrough step forward? If there was, we'd all be doing it, right? They're hard to find. Small things, though. I can stack 100 of those and make 100% gain, as Sir David Brailsford said. Yeah. And the unobvious thing that no one thinks about is the psychological impact on a team when you stack small things. This is what we call the progress principle. Harvard Business Review interviewed thousands of people in work and said, when was your most enjoyable day in work? And they all pointed out in their diaries a day when they had a sense of progress, even a tiny little gain they made. Sir David Brailsford, who's known for his marginal gains theory and has written about in the first chapter of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, said to me, the small gains, the making the water bottle just a little bit bigger and the pillow softer mattered. But the thing no one gives us credit for, thing no one talks about, is I took over a team that were depressed psychologically. They were down and out. They didn't want anything. And by finding tiny little gains, quote, we felt like we were going somewhere. That psychology of momentum is the greatest force in business. I can tell you in all my companies now, which ones have that feeling of momentum and the impact in 6, 12, 18, 24 months that'll have on their excellence in their work and their delivery in terms of bottom line. And I can point at the companies now that don't have that. I say it's in the air. They don't have the momentum in the air. The collective don't feel like they're going somewhere. The easiest way to jumpstart this, like I said about keeping commitments to yourself, is to go and find tons of small things and share them with the group. And Sir David Brailsford said to me, we started finding all these small things, and what you'd find was people were staying till 2 a.m. Because we were in the shops making the tires a little bit bigger and people were fired up. We felt like we were going somewhere.
How do you apply this to your personal life?
The small stuff. I just see this. It goes back to what we said about letting the demons in. I see the small things that I do as they're all compounding for or against me. So this morning when my girlfriend got out of bed and walked out of the room, I remember thinking, we've developed a habit and we're developing a habit now where we don't interact first thing in the morning. We
don't say good morning to each other.
We used to always, this sounds a bit soppy or whatever, but it's the truth. When we first met, when we woke up, we'd cuddle just for a bit. We're kind of tired, we'd cuddle. We moved out of that. And I can see if I just zoomed out over the last 3 years, how our behavior, our interactions in the morning are just veering off. So this morning she got out of bed and she was walking off and I go, hey, come back. I said, let's have a cuddle. And we laid in bed for about 20 minutes and just cuddled. That subtle course correction, which they talk about in aviation, was it the 61 rule? Where for every 60 miles you fly, if you're 1 degree off target, you'll miss the airport by 1 mile. That's also why the small stuff is so important. It's that continual course correction of that compounding curve that's dominating areas of your life you're not thinking about. And if I just give you that lens of every area of your life, your relationship, your health, your teeth, your skin, your money is subtly compounding in one direction based on the tiny decisions that you're choosing to make or not make. And the way that you can change that trajectory over the next 10 years is by saving that pounds, brushing your teeth, taking care of that relationship, checking in with that friend. And if you zoom out and you look at Warren Buffett and how he made his millions, it's all this obsession with the compounding returns, which he calls the eighth wonder of the world.
So his business partner, Charlie Munger, says the first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily. So this is the other side, right? You must sweat the small stuff, but when you are sweating the small stuff, stop fucking about with it, right? Are you on a path? It's the same for me. Like a lot of the questions and stuff that we've had over the last year is like, what are you going to do next? What are you going to change? What's the next project? A big part of me is like, everything is so vertical. Line go up and to right, which I know the feeling of. I really don't want to touch too much. This doesn't mean that we're not looking at different ideas. You've got this is a different way of shooting things. It's in a much smaller room. We're actually trying some different angles. We're shooting on different cameras. But it's not a massive change, right? The first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily. And so many people, I think, because there is an allure in the novelty of doing something new, like, oh, maybe I'll try. I'm sure I could start a fucking VC firm or some bullshit. I'll start it with a friend. I'll be like, Stephen, how should I begin to do this thing? Look, the thing that you've said is already most important is going up and to the right. Stop fucking about with it, right?
Okay,
the compounding is on your side.
So it's temptation is highest when we're unsuccessful and when we're successful. It's not high in the middle. Because when we're unsuccessful, there's so much luring us away. My mother started 25 businesses before the age of me being 25 because when her business was struggling, someone would walk in and tell her that estate agents down the road are making loads of money. So my mum literally started an estate agent. She couldn't access the internet. She couldn't read or write. So she started that. And then someone walked into the shop 6 months in and said, warehouses that do furniture down the road is selling lots of money. So I watched my mum start 25 different businesses at that. And then at the top, let's look at the top. So when things are going really well and temptation's optimal as well. If you think about the biggest podcasters in this country previously, I won't name them because I don't want to, but the thing that took them off their throne was diversion. Even True Geordie the other day did a tweet where he said, somewhere along the way, I lost track of what my job was, which was to give value to my audience. London Real.
Fucking hell.
He changed his YouTube channel to run for mayor, and he posted, at times it looked like 30 iPhone videos a day.
Still the same.
Temptation was high. The temptation of becoming London mayor. So I think when I'm at optimal temptation, focus.
Stop fucking about.
Focus. Don't interrupt the process, as Charlie Munger would say.
What do you guys think? Do you guys sweat the small stuff like he suggests? Please leave your comment below. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you for making it this far. If you like this video, you might want to share it with a like-minded friend. Thank you, and as always, stay blessed.